Michael and I never wanted to get married until September of 2020. Up until that point, we felt like, we didn't need a piece of paper to validate our relationship, and that the institution of marriage really was for straight people. Not that there's anything wrong with straight people. But two reasons we decided to get married. COVID was seriously imperiling our health and our mortality, and Trump was seriously imperiling our rights. So we're like, you know what? For practical reasons, we should probably get married while we're still healthy enough and we still have the right to do it. But we did not want a wedding, a ceremony. No, ma'am. We were just going to go downtown to the courthouse and have a justice of the peace thing, tie the knot, take a picture, put it on Facebook, 500 likes, done. And we were going to do it on our 30th anniversary, our Pearl anniversary. We met on September 23rd in 1990 in Central Park in the Ramble. And when both of us walked in there, all we were looking for was a pearl necklace. And which we both got with each other, but we emerged from there with something better, a pearl of love. And we went out a week later. And we've been together ever since. So we couldn't get married at the Justice of the Peace downtown because it was COVID and it was closed, and so we had to do it on Zoom. And Michael's the architect, he's the organized one, so he finagled a date on our anniversary. And then I made the mistake of telling our friend Blue Eyes out in Cherry Grove, Fire Island, that we were getting married. He said, "Oh my God, that's wonderful. I want to throw you a wedding at my beach house. It's right there." I said, "No, that's exactly what we don't want." He said, "Oh, come on. I just want to, let me just throw you a party." And I was like, "A party? It's COVID." He said, "It'll be out on the deck. The deck is huge and there won't be that many people and it'll be safe." I was like, "Okay, fine." I said, "But the guests all have to wear pearl necklaces." So the day of the court date, right beforehand, we're like, "Oh, we're getting married. We should probably dress up." And so we throw on some tuxedo tops, no bottoms because it was Zoom. And we were like, "What are we going to wet ourselves with? What about rings?" "No, we've already done rings." So we grab our matching Wilma Flintstone pearl necklaces that we're going to wear at the party. And then we log on to Zoom, and the clerk is really nice. And then he's like, click this and download this PDF and virtually sign this. And then we're like, "Okay, you're going to marry us?" And he said, "Oh, no. And you guys look so great. But this is formality, and you have to wait 24 hours. And then you have to have an actual ceremony with an officiant." I'm like, the world is determined to see us get married. So I text a friend of mine who's a minister, and I said, "Listen, we're having, we're getting married, or we have to get married, and we're having this party in Fire Island. Can you do it?" And he says he can do it. And he says, "Have you written your vows?" And I'm like, "Written our vows? I mean, can't we just say, do you promise to stick with this guy whose shit you put up with for 30 years? I mean, we have lived the vows, sickness and health. We went through the Persian Gulf War. We went through my alcoholism. We suffered the death of Stolishnaya, our beloved Russian cat. We suffered the deaths of both sets of parents. I think we are up to the vows." And he said, "Okay, but some couples that I've married that didn't do their vows, they went on to regret it." And I was like, "Well, that sounds kind of ominous." So I'm the writer in the group, so I write our vows. So the day of, we're headed out to Fire Island, and we're on the ferry, and I look up, and the clouds are gray and pregnant with rain. I'm like, "Oh, great. We don't even want to get married, and now it's going to rain." And then the minister texts, and he says that he's not going to make the ferry, and he's going to have to marry us from the land via Zoom. We're like, "Oh, this is so COVID 2020. And then we get to our beach house, and we throw down our stuff, and we put on our tuxedos with bottoms, although it's Fire Island, so we really didn't need bottoms. And we grab our matching Wilma Flintstone pearl necklaces, and we practice our vows. And then we get to my friend's deck, and he's got the altar, and the altar is a black grill with a white sheet draped over it. And then I put my computer on top, and the minister appears via Zoom, and I bowel movement you not, but those gray clouds part, and the sun's rays shine down on us, and we recite our vows, and with these pearl necklaces we thee wed. And then afterwards, before the party, we walk to town, and people go crazy, like, oh my God, you guys look fabulous. We're like, well, we just got married. Oh my God, that's great. And then we go to the pizza parlor where our favorite pianist is playing outside because he can't play inside in the bar, and he serenades us with our song, September Song. And I have used some of the lyrics in our vows, and when he gets to those lyrics, and these precious days I'll spend with you, Michael and I look at each other, and we're glad that we got married, and we're glad that we had a wedding, and we're glad that we said our vows, not to validate our relationship in front of the world, but to validate our relationship for us. Thank you.
Yay! Jamie Brickhouse.